Hey everybody, how's it going today? It's Friday. It's Friday. I think we're just counting the weeks down until the inevitable happens because honestly, no one lives forever. No one lives forever. Okay. I'm just telling you. Now, they could taxidermy him. So when I said that, I saw a picture of him taxidermied. Now, I want to say that that's a little different, right? Like, I think that's a downgrade in service from a wax figure, right? Like, I think a wax figure is sort of a better upgraded, like first class situation. Taxidermy, I think that's low, and probably Kennedy has got some hookups with taxidermists. So anyway, he can't live forever. I'm just telling you that right now. He can't. And we're just here every Friday night to count it down until the man is gone and we can scream, the witch is dead, the wicked witch is dead, or something. I don't know what we'll do. We're going to celebrate. I'll say that much. How are you all? Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Really appreciate it. I hope you're hanging in there. Yeah, TGIF. Exactly. Yep. Friday. Exactly. Yes. Who's getting taxidermied? Trump. Yeah, Trump. He can't live forever, right? That's what the guides were saying. And I think that when I said that, they showed me not even Weekend at Bernie's, but like he's taxidermied. And you know what? When they do that, they don't have enough skin or something. So they kind of patch like some raccoon and like some possum where they're missing because I think his skin is so degraded. I mean, look, you got to work with what you got to work with, right? Kennedy probably give him some kind of whale skin or something, and that's what we're gonna have is like a taxidermied version of him in the corner someplace. So yeah, good to see you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Kentucky Derby weekend. Woo woo! Wow, it sure is Kentucky Derby. Wow, happy Kentucky Derby weekend. May the horses be treated well and the jockeys as well. Ding dong, exactly. That's what I said. Ding dong. Hey, little blue lotus astrology. Woo woo. How are you? Good to see you. Thank you to my moderators. I am Istro. I saw some other moderators here, and I'm sure more are coming. And I really appreciate you showing up and helping me out today. Always, right? Ron, Unconditional Love is here. And I want to say that Raven really came through. And yeah, Mary Blue Raven. I was reading the comments and I saw her say, "Hey, Susan, don't forget to slow the chat down." And every time you or another moderator tells me to do that, I go, because I forgot. And I'm like, so I got to run over there and do it. So I really appreciate the reminders. How's everybody doing? I do have some questions queued up to get started with, so we can do that because you guys have some questions that we're going to dive into. It's not like anything has been going on, right? Just a lot, as usual. And I think that, yeah, I do want to talk about the recent King Charles visit because I thought I put it on the screen, but of course not. It just said, "No, we're not doing that. We don't feel like it." Okay, that's cool. So sorry I couldn't put it on the screen, and now the chat has taken it away like a river current downstream. So listen, you guys, I don't watch a lot of news, and especially today, I was super busy. But King Charles has been here, and he has been uh, just amazing, honestly. I'm not like a big King Charles fan, but wow, he gave Trump a inscribed bell from some submarine, and apparently bells are not good luck charms. They're actually not, and in Britain, bells mean breaking wind. So fart. So he gave him like a fart trophy with his name on it. And Trump was like a toddler, like looking at it, like, "Oh, look." So yeah, and then he just King Charles has just been trashing Trump. It's actually been amazing to watch. And then I just saw a video where King Charles is visiting the rangers, the park rangers at a park, holding an American eagle, greeting people like probably our own president should do, but doesn't do. Like, he's like doing a victory lap around the United States going, well, you guys should have choose wrong, didn't you? You that whole revolution thing didn't work out so well for you. You could have had us, right? You could have had free healthcare, not free healthcare, but you could have had healthcare. We could have had we could have probably been better off. But anyway, I love it that King Charles is doing this. And my guide said I can see the guides were like, this is going to be like other dignitaries are going to come to the United States to kind of make themselves look better because actually Brits are like, we're not mad at this. Like, we're enjoying this. So actually, it's raised his popularity. King Charles's popularity is raised by coming over here and smacking around our leaders. So I think you're going to see like a steady, like a leader sort of visitation to sort of, pump up their reputations. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. When he was holding an eagle, I was like, that is the King of England holding our eagle, and our president just holds Big Macs. I mean, what is happening right now? Anyway, yeah, it's nuts. Yeah, his speech was fantastic. It was, I mean, first of all, just to hear words and sentences that make sense was such a relief, right? That was such a relief. Yeah, so good to see everybody. Thank you for showing up tonight. Canadians are enjoying it too. I'm sure you are. I'm sure everybody's enjoying it, right? I don't think Carney's allowed here because I'm pretty sure Carney would take a swing at him. So I don't think that's going to work out. And Carney doesn't need any help, but like look at Iran. Look at how much better Iran is now. They're like sending us Lego videos and we're like, yeah, Iran, you tell them, yeah. We're rooting for Iran right now. I don't even know what is happening in this country. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm happy. Yeah, I was gobsmacked when I saw him meeting with the Park Service and holding an American eagle. And I thought, well, this is and I've always loved the Brits' sense of humor. Their sense of humor is diabolical, right? Like, I think they have the best sense of humor, period, bar none. So yeah, bring it. That's what I would say. Just let's bring it. Yes. What did you say here? Ray says, I just saw Queen Camilla gifted a Rue doll to NYPL. So thoughtful they put her on they put our leaders to shame. They really do. And uh, Prince Charles and Camilla don't have the highest. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, they're coming over here looking like solid gold, really. So yeah, we say Trump for a fart, right? So there we go. You're English, and you say Trump for a fart. Exactly. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Maybe Britain will take us over. Also, I was thinking, I wonder if King Charles was like looking people in the eye, like blink 3 times. If you need me to send, somebody over here to help you, like get you out of the country, like, are you okay? Like, I think he was actually checking on us, like, do we need to like do a rescue thing or something? Like, blink 3 times and we'll come get you. Yeah, the Lego videos have been amazing. And there's different kind of creatives that are producing them, but they're vicious, but I love the truth of them, right? I mean, they're propaganda, but it's true. It's mostly true. Yeah, 8647 for entertainment purposes only. Exactly, Raymond. Yeah, so apparently he's going after people that are saying that. And I mean, okay. I don't know if you asked this question earlier, Nathan Street, but I did pull that aside to answer. So if somebody else asked it, I'm going to answer it this way. Bilderberg, which, like, okay, do we all need to Google who that is? Because that's like, to me, that's like, those are the shadow people who run the planet, right? But anyway, met earlier than scheduled, apparently. Any comments regarding that? According to someone else who said earlier, this is just what the comment was. They hadn't met this early since the 30s. Yeah, so this is another person who said, Whitley One says, the Bilderberg group had an emergency meeting Carney was invited along with Peter Thiel and many others worried the first time they've convened in April since 1993, 33 years ago. Well, I mean, look, you guys, this is a worldwide crisis, is what the guides want to say. It's helium. We can't store helium. Helium is not something we can stockpile, and we need helium for, I think it's MRIs or CT scans. We can't get helium out. We can't get oil out on any kind of regular basis. Everything is starting to tumble down. The guides just showed me the Jenga. When you pull the one, just that one, and it's the wrong one, and everything just crashes to the ground. So what is happening is, and I applaud Carney for being there, honestly, because what I like about Carney is that he 100% represents his people. He's there because if somebody's having a meeting about trade or world, power or anything at all, if it affects his people, he wants to be at the table. So I respect that. I totally respect that. You're not going to be making decisions without him trying to be there to represent Canada. And that's what a leader would do, right? But so many leaders are just representing themselves or representing their pocketbooks or trying to decide how they can position themselves or their rich friends so that they can get some money, so that they can cash out, right? So the question is, what is happening here? And again, the guides are saying it's a crisis. They're calling it a crisis point, uh, meaning to me that it's like comes to some sort of head and then it dissipates. Now it doesn't go away. It does not go away, but it doesn't come to a head and then stay at or continue to go up. So it is going to be like a crash out situation. Money is going to be unstable. The stock market's going to be unstable. The FTSE, I don't even know what that is. The world stock market, I'm seeing like Japan, I'm seeing different stock markets. They're going to be unstable. It destabilizes the world. But this is where the guides last year were talking about power vacuums. Okay, because if the if these countries don't have the power, if nobody has the power, because now we're all struggling trying to keep our money afloat, trying to keep our chain of supply afloat, then what that does is it allows look at Iran again. Who would have thought that Iran would be the dark horse that would go into the front, right? That they would actually be wielding so much power. So as we go into this crisis point, it's going to create possibilities for new countries. I just saw Venezuela, new countries to come forward and really have some clout that they didn't have before and possibly didn't have ever before. So that's what's happening there. Glass Galvin says, question for whenever. Okay, several zoos were evacuated today for bomb threats. Holy crap, including the Phoenix Zoo. Any chance that sick bleep will be found and dealt with? Yes, King Charles, for highlighting our parks. The guides just said, listen, I'm channeling, so, okay, take it with a grain of salt. Don't shoot the messenger. The guides said they're easy targets. So zoos don't have a lot of, they have security based around, let's keep the lions in. Let's make sure that little Johnny doesn't climb the fence. Let's make sure that the tickets aren't fraudulent. They have certain types of security, but they don't have, all the guides keep saying is they're easy targets. So they called it soft target. So if you're trying to create panic, if you're trying to destabilize middle America, this is what you do. This is how you do it. And that's what this is all about. These actors, meaning bad people, they're trying to create destabilization in our country, and they're trying to make us so afraid that we stay home, that we stop buying things, that we turn against each other. It's mayhem. They're trying to create mayhem. I actually also think they're going to be doing this around Disney and the two Disneys. I don't want to say too many words, but they're going to also be doing this around theme parks because they don't want us to have a vacation. They don't want us to think everything is okay or everything is safe. They want us to be afraid. They want to terrorize us, okay? And it's easy. It's easy to call in that kind of thing from some other country. It's very easy to do. And then beyond that, it's not that hard to radicalize somebody on a gaming chat, that's feeling like society's left them behind. They don't have a job, whatever. They're a very easy target to radicalize and then turn them into a lone wolf. So I kind of see this happening more and more, and more, really. There might be, it might be like an outbreak, like there's two or three, and then it dies down, and then there's two or three, and then it dies down, and then it switches. So it's about terrorizing. Like we don't know where it's going to go. I just saw a ballpark, baseball, like the Mets or the White Sox, the Red Sox. I don't know, some baseball team also having a similar. Again, it's about disrupting us. So yeah. I look very nice. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, the guides told me to wear this jacket today. I was like, I'm just doing whatever they say, literally. Is that true? I'm doing the best I can, y'all. I'm doing the best I can. How's everybody doing? Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We are getting to your questions. We talked about King Charles visiting the United States and making us look like we probably should never have revolted against Britain because he actually came in and was actually like a real leader, went and met the national parks because he's a big environmentalist. But here he is holding an American eagle. I'm like, this is ridiculous, but here we are. He literally did more for us and the people here than Trump has done in all of his years, not only as a fake president, but all of his years on this earth. Question Lindy Rose says, someone says the data centers are really FEMA camps for dissenters. I mean, yes, I think that is true. I mean, yes, that is true, but not all of them. But let's just say that the guides are saying they see these as resources. Do we need to house dissenters? Do we need to house our own militia? Do we need to house data centers? Do we need to house materials? So they're what are they? They're inhuman, right? So they don't really see this. They just see this as, we own this building and we're going to put humans in it. We're going to put cages in it, or we'll put computers in it. We'll do whatever we want. But yes, I do see that, unfortunately. Yeah, I guess Spirit Airlines is gone. I just gone, like gone, bye, gone. But the jet fuel is so high. People are not, we're not forgiving. I keep saying this, right? But we're not going to put up with being treated badly anymore. We don't really need to travel. And now if they're going to start doing crazy things to vacation spots, we're not going to travel. So it makes sense. The Spirit couldn't make the transition into this new energy because they just didn't have it. They didn't have the customer service. Their cheap fares didn't actually make sense sometimes. We don't care anymore. We're going to shut down a bunch of things because we do not care. We're just not going to put up with things. Let's put it that way. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they might do something to the zoo. Right now, I just see them it's chaos. They want to create chaos. So another thing that they could do, which would be great, would be to just break in and open cages and let them loose. I mean, just lots of chaos making is what they're trying to do right now. It kind of has to get ugly. It really actually has to get ugly to get to the light, right? We have to really see this. And we're still not. There's still people who aren't seeing it. And I think actually there's going to be people who never see it. We're going to actually have to move forward without them. But I said in my last video, I see like 60% of Americans coming together. The problem is, I think we're going to be against the establishment. I mean, we may not really draw a very clear line between Democrats and Republicans. I mean, this is just what I'm seeing, because we're going to be mad at the Democrats. They're going to be mad at the Republicans. So we're going to be mad at the whole thing. But that's also part of the process of saying they got let down. We got let down. We got let down the same way. You know, they screwed both of us. Main difference, though, is that they're racist, and basically, generally speaking, we're not. But besides those things, they took away our jobs, they took away our health care, they took away, the prices exploded. So we're all going to be mad. Oh, great. Thank you for sharing this. If you didn't see the news today, millions protested for no kings and May Day. I also want to say that last weekend, I was out and about with the dogs, and there were several impromptu, uh, just 5 people on a street corner with signs against this regime. And I started honking, and then everybody else started honking. So if you see people standing out there, don't just drive by them, help them out, honk your horn, raise your fist, thank them for doing this. Those people that do that are the stalwarts. The guides are calling them, they're stalwart. They're the people who are there in the rain, who are there in the snow, who are there in the sun. They're taking time out of their day to do this. If you can't do it, like I couldn't do it, I had the dogs, honk and thank them, because this kind of energy is just not going to go away. It's not going to go away. It's going to get bigger and bigger. Let's see what you guys are saying. By the way, the QR code is fine. It is there. I just keep forgetting to change it or whatever, but it does go to my website if you're interested in my online community. I'm scrolling to get to all your comments, but while I'm scrolling, my finger's getting worn out. Yeah, I have a free online community, you guys. You can go to my website, susanlynnmedium.com. It's free. There's no ads. There's no trolls. It's not over here. It's completely separate. Many thousands of you are there. I also have a paid community that's only $12 a month, where I'm with you 6 hours a month, 3 separate events, 2 hours each, working with you, helping you, guiding you. If you need the help, $12 a month is very reasonable. Check it out, susanlynnmedium.com. Yeah, so let's see what is happening down here. Gaslighting and disrespect, absolutely. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're a member. Thank you so much. Nomadi, appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Right. I'm glad you like the red on red on red. I don't know. I don't normally wear this. Oh boy. Yeah, they are totally, wow, look at that. Wow, that's an interesting picture there. Yeah, my mom doesn't believe MAGA supporters are racist, but I think that's because their family and friends are MAGA. Exactly. They are. They don't want to believe it, but they really are. Look at this. Jeffries said impeachment is not the top priority. He is not the top priority. Jeffries is not the top priority. That's what I would say to that. Oh, thanks, Seascape. Thank you for being a moderator. I appreciate you. Good to see you. And thanks for sharing my information about my membership. I really appreciate it. It really helps people. I've been doing it for years, and I can see how people change, how I've changed, right, too. But it really is. Oh, you joined today. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. I'm doing readings for my members next week. So, if you want a reading from me, Look, we get down and dirty in these readings. We do it on Zoom, and I'm looking at you, and I'm in there fixing your stuff, man. It's big time. So if you're interested in that, please check it out, SusanLynnMedium.com. Let's see. Bear's mom says, who are they that are planning the attacks? Well, there's a couple of them. Mainly right now, I did get Iran. I did get that, but it's almost always Russia because Russia has an infrastructure in the United States. You know, when our wonderful, the guides are reminding me of this, the Giuliani. See, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't remember any of this. I couldn't remember the name of a software that I use every day today. I couldn't remember the software. So thank God when I'm channeling, the guides are like, oh yeah, this thing. Giuliani, you remember when he came in as America's mayor, BS? Well, he ran out the Italian mob. Guess who came in? The Russian mob. The Russian mob came in all the way down the Eastern Seaboard, all the way down to Key West. So there's this infrastructure of Russian mob here that can be activated very easily. So, but there are other countries who would benefit from us being much less powerful, right? So yeah, that's who I'm seeing when I say that. So let's see what else. Oh, I'm glad you made it, Teresa. Good to see you. 12 missing. I've talked about this, ex-warrior. The 12 missing scientists, it to me, when I go into the energy, it's free energy. It's about free energy, or this kind of energy that is like something we can't think of. We cannot imagine. We cannot imagine this. It's easy energy, it's free energy. And I keep talking about hovering, something about being able to hover so that the cars would not be uh have to drive on a street. But it's, if you think about energy, you think about boats use energy, trains use energy, planes use energy, cars use energy. um it's a huge business. And this is not acceptable, right? They're not ready to turn it over to that. They're not, and also this energy would be, when I say free, I mean that it's egalitarian, the guides want to say. So I think that means equal, like anybody could access it. It's almost like, oh, here's the recipe, make it yourself. Egalitarian. I almost want to look that up, but anyway, so that's very threatening to them. You want it, that it would also take out a bunch of jobs. This is where you end up getting the Democrats end up on the wrong side of the fence, because then these companies go to the Democrats and say, hey, are you ready to give up 20% of your jobs? And the Democrats are like, no, we can't do that. We can't lose. Well, okay, then you need to be on our side, right? So that's how the Democrats always end up working with the devil, because they don't want us to lose. They want to help us. And it's just a messed up thing, you guys. It's a messed up thing. So anyway, I'm not saying the Democrats are involved in making these people disappear. I think the people in the dark, shadowy areas, they're hit jobs. The guides just said they're hit jobs. Okay. So let's move on. I've talked about this a few times, and they haven't changed their mind about that. They just keep saying basically the same thing over and over again. I mean, this is the $1,000,000 question, Marcia. I mean, I've read on this for years now. And, I even put on my calendar last time I came on, I think it was, I said, I thought that he could potentially be, that JD could be sworn in on that Sunday. And that was when the fake attempt happened on him. Let's talk about that for a minute. There's a guy on, probably on TikTok. I think he's on everything, but I think his name is Tizzy Yent, or Tizzy something like that. And this guy is like the Lone Ranger of the internet. Like if you have been done wrong by somebody, or somebody's done some egregious racial thing, like people are like, you know, hashtag Tizzy Yent, and then he's like, I'm on it. He will find that person. He will sick his, 100,000 people on that person, find out where they work, get them fired. Anyway, this guy came on to Threads. Again, he's on all the platforms, but he came on to Threads and he showed 3 videos of that guy, Cole Allen, is that his name? 3 videos where he was supposedly running through the section where they were setting up the metal detectors. They had one set up and they were setting the other one up. The first video is the newest video. It's 4K, it's super sharp. And in that video, this guy, the suspect, goes into this room and there's some sort of cop of some kind, police officer with a canine, with like some kind of dog, and the canine goes into the room after this guy, like he wants to go in he's not attacking, but it's like he's interested, and the officer pulls him back, but the officer is talking, okay, talking, you can see him talking. Then the next thing that happens is the officer turns around and this guy, the suspect, bursts out of the room carrying a rifle and runs through this, like there's like at least 5 people with officers with guns right there. And the view of the camera, the officer closest to the camera with his back facing the suspect fires 3 shots. Now there's people all behind this guy who's running. The guy runs right past him. Now, if you're firing shots, one of them people is going to get hit. They were all behind him, like situated in a semicircle around him. So then Tizzy Yent showed the first video that came out, which was like watching something from 1974, maybe a horror movie from 1974. It was grainy. You couldn't tell what was happening. The second video came out was AI, because the guy's hat slid or some of the images like morphed into something else. And then the third video was this 4K with the guy with the gun running. It's like, so Tizzy's like, no, you don't get 3 chances to convince us that that's what happened, when the first one is grainy and blurry and the second one is obviously AI, and then the third one, oh, all of a sudden it's 4K and this guy's got a right. No, that is just a no. Okay. So I think actually Karen Ettinger asked, if I started over here, will that ever come out? Will it ever come out that this was fake? And I mean, yes, that leads me to the next thing I want to talk about. Yes, it will, but it's just like aliens. You have pilots that have seen aliens. You have generals. You have presidents who have seen aliens, but nobody believes it. So what does it matter, right? Like, so we all know this election was stolen, but nobody believes it. We all know that this was fake, but nobody believes it. So what does it matter, right? So my next thing I want to talk about is Politics Girl. So I don't know if you guys follow her. I think she's on YouTube. It's called Politics Girl. She's great. I don't listen to all this because it messes with what the guides. Look, I don't need them talking to me anymore, and they already talking to me. So if I listen to a bunch of politics, then they start chatting, and then I gotta listen. No, thank you. But Politics Girl's great. She's scrappy. She doesn't appear to be owned by anybody really. So imagine my surprise, and I'm telling you all, this is a big deal to me. To me, this is the biggest thing that's happened yet. I'm not kidding. Besides Tizzy Yent, this is a big thing. So she came on and said, that's it. You can call me a conspiracy theorist. I don't care anymore. And she went through the whole thing about how, like I got my ear pierced and it never healed, but this guy gets shot with a gun and it heals. And furthermore, this guy has kept grudges for people for decades, yet he doesn't have a grudge against a guy who tried to kill him. So she went through every single thing, including the election being stolen. She went through all of them. And she said, so yeah, Call me a conspiracy theorist. I don't care anymore. What I am is a thinking human being, and this stuff doesn't add up. And you want us to be afraid to question you because you're going to call us crazy. You're going to call us a conspiracy theorist. And this is how you're keeping the media shut up about it. Because you know what? She said, I was the media. I was afraid to say anything because just in case this was really true, I didn't have any data, but I had to just err on the side of I can't say that this happened. But she's like, now I'm done. Call me a conspiracy theorist. I don't care. Okay, that's huge. Do you understand how big that is? Because once somebody like her, that's got a pretty big following, is willing to stand up and say, I'm not crazy. I'm seeing this. I'm a thinking person, and none of these things add up. Not one of them add up. And if we can get behind her, if you can find her and support her, what will happen is other media people who are afraid to stand up will start standing up. They're going to watch her and see if she gets annihilated, to see if she loses her base, to see if she disappears. If those things happen, then they're never going to stand up. They're never going to admit this stuff. But if she has support and continues saying the truth, this doesn't make sense. We're not idiots. I don't care if you call us a conspiracy theorist. We have eyeballs and we can see that what happened here. So I think that this is huge, you guys. This is a sea change, the guides are saying. Okay. So I think this is a big thing. And I think, yeah, she's Canadian. Yeah, because yeah. So I think this is a big thing. This is a huge thing. She's sort of like the first one who's really come out and said all the things, like the whole list. So I think this is super helpful, actually. But please, if you see a media person starting to question this, jump in the comments and thank them and support them. Because if we don't support them, they're not going to do it. It's not worth the death threats. Look, 11 scientists have disappeared. Look at Guthrie. Look at the Hortmans. Look at all these people, General McCaslin. Look at these people. To speak out against these people puts a real target on you. Let's support them. Let's help them. We've got to help them because this is the only way we get out of this, really. And share anybody else that you guys feel like has been Katie Fang, right? Like she's suing the DOJ. So I think these are big sea changes that are happening that show us that the shift is happening. The shift is happening for sure. I talked about Wilcock before. Look, all I can tell you is what I get, you all. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm translating this information differently, but Wilcock is the guy who was the big UFO guy, who I think was losing some support in some ways. But anyway, what I got was suicide by cop. I think that it was unfortunate situation. I don't think he meant to kill himself because honestly, he didn't have that kind of metal. It takes a lot. You have to be in a place to do that, and I just don't think he was there. That's just what I get. And then why was he done that? Because the guides are saying he was playing fast and loose with something that he knew. So he was, and they said this last time too. They talked about Ivana, who from the grave said, look, Susan, they didn't have to do that. I wasn't going to rat them out. That's what she told me. I wasn't going to rat them out. She was had a deposition like 1 or 2 days later after her exit. And she said, they didn't have to do that. I wasn't going to rat them out. But the problem is they didn't trust her. They didn't trust that she wouldn't do it. So, you can tell these people, I'm not going to do it. But you're a threat. You're a threat. So that's kind of how I feel about him. Somehow he became a threat to somebody. Um, yeah, it was a fantastic message from King Charles. I'm telling you, he actually elevated his own reputation in Britain by coming over here and doing what he did. And I'm thrilled that he did. 100%. Yeah. Yeah, he could have been drugged. There's Libby is Meister Tarot. Um, there are these drugs that they can give you that make you do things, but you have no memory of doing them. I mean, I really do think they use that, and I think they use that on people to get people to do things. 100%. 100%. That is really a real drug. You can look it up. It's people know about it. Let's see what else is happening here. You guys are chatting. I appreciate that. I love that you guys are. Is it called Angel Dust? Okay. Yeah, Adam Mockler is another one. He's God. How old is this kid? 20 under 25 probably. Yeah, he's totally extremely bright. He reminds me a little bit of Buddha Judge in the sense that he's very bright and he can spar with you mentally and take people on. So yeah. Okay, Angel Dust. Manchurian Candidate. Yep. Yep, that's also true. Or at least privately met with Epstein victims. Yeah, that's a really good question. You have Beth Bluebird. I wish Charles would have at least privately met with Epstein victims. You know, when I go into this energy, I all I can say is he couldn't. Like the visual of him with them, his PR team said this will make it worse. Maybe that's wrong, but that's what I get. His PR team said don't do it. It's going to make everything worse. But you know, the royal family tends to bury things. You know, they tend to like pretend like things didn't happen. So this makes sense, right? Oh, Adam is 23 years old, right? Right. Yep. Yeah, he's a kid, but he's like really doing a great job, actually. So if you don't follow him, you might want to, or you might want to check him out. Yes, these directional. I want to talk a little bit about this. Grateful for Life. We use directional energy weapons like we used in Venezuela. I don't. I think that, and I think this was a question as well, and I started. I do know that he wants to use nukes. I mean, he wants to. When you go into his energy, the Orange Mad King, he wants to blow something up. He wants to annihilate something. He likes violence. Look, I mean, it's plain and simple as that. He's been stopped. But what I think I'm almost more worried about are other types of weapons like this energy weapon, shockwave, some kind of shockwave weapon, the guides are saying, but also other types of, you know, the guides are saying a weapon is also tainting a water supply. That's a weapon. That think about it. They could attack a city, and when I say they, I mean our president could attack our own city by tearing it off the grid, right? And then blaming Iran. There's all types of weapons that they can use these days that are not nukes, okay? So, but the good news about that is that we're going to know, like suspect we suspect it's him. If somebody sneezes, we're blaming on him. So he's not going to get away with it because we automatically just suspect that it's him. For good or for bad. I don't know if it's good or bad. Yeah, Heather Cox Richardson, I'm a huge fan. I've been shouting her out for since I watched her when she came on during COVID on Facebook, right? So yeah, she's amazing. If you not watching her on YouTube or following her Substack, she's a professor, a history professor. So if you like history, she's really good, and she's not dry. She's very engaging. And so she mixes a little history with what's happening right now. And to me, that helps me understand that in some situations we've been here before. So yeah, these are really good people to follow. Harry Sisson is another one who's really good too. Yep. Um, I love the English's sense of humor too. I really do. Even if it goes over my head sometimes, I love the zingers that I catch. I love it. Well, exactly, petite chef. I'm not like a huge. I've never been a huge King Charles fan, but I have to give like Iran. I'm not a big fan of Iran, but I have to give credit where credit's due. Right? He came here and he smacked Trump around, and the man didn't even know it. Right? Like he did better than I thought he was going to do. Really, he did. Like if you think about all the other dignitaries that have visited, they didn't go visit the national parks. So yes, he left a lot of things undone, and we should hold him accountable. I'm sure Britain is holding him accountable, but he did better than I thought he would. That's for sure. Because I just see him, I kind of see him as milk toast, as like stale Rice Krispies. But he came out and did some things. Yeah. No, I don't think he's a great guy. I'm not saying he's a great guy. I'm really not. I don't I'm saying, look, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying the enemy of my enemy is my friend for 20 minutes. That's what I'm saying. If he wants to come over here and smack around and make us look like fools, then I'm good for that. If I agree with Iran with these Lego videos, then I'm good with this is where we are. Duality hell. This is where we are, right? Um and I mean that, right? Because we're going to come to a place where we're going to have to hold our nose and vote for this Democrat that we don't love, but we would rather have the Democrat than we'd rather have the Republican. And we have to just know that we're going to have to stay engaged and not let this Democrat, you know, get comfortable because we're going to get them back out again. So we have this, it's all about duality, right? Like King Charles is not the greatest guy, but he did some things that help us. So we're just strange bedfellows is where we are right now. And this is not something I'm good at. I'm really not, because generally speaking, my enemy is my enemy. I don't care who I don't care who you are hating or not hating. I don't like you. But so this is new for me as well. It's just a very, very strange time that we are in, honestly. It really is. Yeah, let's see some of these things that I've started over here. So, Beagle Mom says there's a report that the felon is being transported to Walter Reed by helicopter on a weekly basis. His health must be bad. What is going on? My God, have you guys seen the pictures where his ankles? There are elephants that have thinner ankles than he does. He has, I think he has congestive heart failure, and I want to say that he's on these very experimental drugs, very experimental drugs. But I opened this show up by saying he can't live forever. I in the guide showed me him being taxidermied. you know, like he doesn't even get to be in the wax, Madame Tussauds. He doesn't even get to be there. That's too high for him. He's going to be taxidermied in the corner at the weekend at Bernie's, but they're going to have to, taxidermy him. Um, so yeah, his health is terrible. It's failing. The problem is the problem seems to be that when I go into the energy of JD and the White House and the whole thing, JD's numbers, his popularity, his poll numbers, this is what the guides are saying. I don't know what his numbers are terrible. According to the guides, they're abysmal is the word that they want to use. And so it doesn't help. Like, so before, there was this energy of JD was like, let me get him out of the way and then I'll get to be the president. That's not helping right now because JD gets in and they're going to pummel him. They're going to really give him all kind of help. So there's no reason to get rid of 45 right now. There's nobody who wants him out, right? Until somebody wants him out, he won't be out. Now, we talked earlier about the Bilderberg or whatever they are, whoever all these secret societies are that literally run our lives, meeting earlier. Apparently, they do meet, and they're meeting earlier than they usually meet. And the guide said it was because we are at a crisis point. Now, one of the groups that can get him out are these types of not CEOs, but literally billionaires, multiple billionaire people. They can get rid of him. Believe me, they can get rid of him. And the guides are reminding me, because I didn't say this before, but all of these attempts on 45 open up a window for a real one. Okay, so there's the fake one, but that when you create a scenario where there's no security, when the security's lagging, and then it makes it really easy for a real person to come in and do that. Okay, so there are opportunities for this to happen, but I'm getting, again, I think I talked about this in my video this week, but I don't know because I'm channeling. They're saying I talked about it recently. So it's poison. I've said this, like, so I think it could be an OD situation. The guides just called it complete system failure. So that sounds like something that happens to your laptop, when you're like, oh my God, I got the blue screen of death or whatever it is. But the guide said complete system failure. I don't know what that means in medical terms, but it means you die. It means that they can't resuscitate the heart because the organs are failing, right? Like there's nothing that's working so that you can work on the one thing that is. So this is in the ether. It's there. It's just a matter of when it happens. And I'm not God. I can't say when it's going to happen. It happens when it happens, right? But he cannot continue like this. So going back to complete system failure. So the guides are saying that they've been really good. His medical team or whatever, maybe there's badass aliens working on him. I don't know. We got a lot of things to clean up when we get done with this. But anyway, whoever's keeping him alive is they were working on certain systems, meaning like renal system. That's what they just told me. The cardiovascular system is something they just said. So they're working on these systems, and they were able to sort of work on these systems because maybe some other organs were actually working. Okay. But we're coming to this place where nothing is working, and you can't bring somebody back from that kind of system failure. Yeah, he doesn't travel as much anymore. I also think he can't be away from his medical team. He can't, there's a certain crash cart or crash procedures. He has to be near them. He has to be near some sort of equipment. So, you see him kind of going to places that he can get that kind of equipment. He has access to that kind of equipment. I mean, really, actually compare his health to King Charles, right? Like, look at how he looked compared to King Charles, who has a cancer, right? So, but you can see King Charles looks freaking alive. He looks like a real human being comparatively. Yeah, near a crash cart. But there's some other thing besides a crash cart. There's what would okay, wait a minute. I'm not sure if I heard hemoglobin or globulin. I can't tell if I heard hemoglobin or globa something. Globa. I can't get the rest of the thing. Um, hemoglobin, but globulin, something like that. Some of you medical, that's it. That's the word. Gamma globulin. Yeah, globulin. Because I kept getting globulin. Globulin. What is that? Globulin. Globulin. That's blood. Okay. I don't know, but that just give me the heebie-jeebies. Hemoglobin. I got hemoglobin, but I don't think it's hemoglobin. I think it's gamma globulin or something about globulin. Blood disease? Maybe if that make gamma globulin. Is that a blood disease? The guides are saying it's like a blood disease. So you used to get immunoglobulin. So this would be like an infusion. So I think he has to have infusions like that. I think he has to have some sort of infusions. He has to have a crash cart, but he also has to have access to these infusions, whatever they are. Blood proteins. Okay, it's going to come down to genetics. Yes. Well, it's either going to come down to genetics or it's going to come down to somebody getting a payment in their offshore bank account, if you understand what I'm saying to you. One of those two things. You flipped the bird to Air Force One when it flew over your house. I love that, Suze Thompson. I love it. I love it. I'm sure the pilots were probably like, yeah, we see you. Roger that. Copy that. The pilots were probably like, yeah, we don't like this any more than you do, lady. He's a vampire. I mean, yeah, that's kind of true in a sense. I mean, look at Peter Thiel, who, according to his own public accounts, gets some kind of um, infusions from younger people, thinking that's going to give him some sort of fountain of life in some way. I'm sure he has a mini hospital in Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, I think he does absolutely have a mini hospital in there. It's plus, they have that tunnel. I think that tunnel goes to the beach, but I think that tunnel is used to bring in medical personnel or things they don't want the public to see, be it satellites or anything like that. So they tend to take things in at night and they cover things up. Yeah, I do think it could be Weekend at Bernie's. Kinda. The problem is that now Vance has screwed up his possibilities. Okay, will we lose Social Security? I don't think so. Um, Now, if they stayed in office, or if they stayed in office until 2028, I mean, I'm just seeing a vision of everybody in the streets. I mean, you think we're in the streets now? Just imagine. Um, yeah, no, it would be. I see older people, Social Security age people, flipping cars, like lighting cars on fire. I mean, really, they don't have anything else to live for. Do you know what I'm saying? Like when you get to be a certain age, you're like, okay, this is it, then this is it, right? So now you have, really, the guides are calling them zombies. I mean, you have people that just I don't care, lock me up, shoot me, I don't care, right? So that's a whole different ball game. I don't see it. You know, they want to. They've been trying to privatize it since Reagan, probably. They want to do it, but I don't see it. And I want to say this too, that there's a really strong probability, and I'm going to go with that. I believe that it's going to happen, that we get on the other side of this and we get our universal health care. We get I don't know why the guides want to constantly talk about this, guaranteed payments. I Maybe because the economy is so bad that the government has to pay people. Like, we are unstable. If we get in the streets and we don't have food and we don't have shelter and we don't have health care and we get in the streets, that's very destabilizing to the rest of the economy. And they'll do anything to keep that from happening. Now, we go back to earlier when I was talking about somebody asked some of these data centers or the land or the buildings that they have made for these data centers. They are going to use some for dissenters. They're expecting us to do this. I said 2 years ago, I see a crackdown on free speech. That's one of the reasons why I started my community outside of YouTube. That's also why I started my second YouTube channel, which is Susan Lynn, Spiritual Way Shower. And I tried to put a firewall between that channel and this channel by using different emails, because the guides have told me from the beginning of me starting my channel, which was back when he was Reign of Terror #1, they're going to take this from you. They're going to take your free will. They're going to take your free speech. And you need to have a way to protect yourself from that. Like, everybody needs to be able to find their people, whoever you follow, right? Like, you'll have multiple contacts. Like, maybe you follow somebody on social media and you follow them on their newsletter, or you'll be able to find us should we get shut down. So this is all in the energy. This is all in the energy, because I'll say the other thing is that the reason they predicted this years ago was because when we get control of the country again, the problem is how they took us down was through our free speech. They took us down through Cambridge Analytica, through this Fox News, through these people that lied, that cooked brains, that radicalized people. So how do we stop that? How do you protect your people from outsiders who are trying to radicalize them? Well, the first thing you do is you try to make your place safe. And to do that, because you don't know who the good people are and who the bad people are, we talked about duality just a minute ago, talk about discernment, but we don't have time for that. We're under attack. So the first thing they're going to do is cut free speech. Now, what I feel like that means is, look, if you want to talk bad about this team versus that team, no problem. If you want to have an opinion about a celebrity, no problem. But if you want to have an opinion about the government, I think they're going to curtail that. If you want to have an opinion about a class of people, a religious group, a political group, they're going to curtail that. This is what I've always seen. So we might have to have a narrowing of, and this is what the guides have said for years, right? Like the guardrails might have to come in just to get a handle on things, right? Just like the guides are saying, you get approval, like say when Kamala Harris was running. Do you remember when a lot of these new media, like Adam Mockler, we were talking about, these different people, they were able to get PR sort of credentials. They were able to get credentials to go follow her. So she said, hey, you're new, you're independent media, come on in. I want to invite you in here. So you have to be vetted, is my point. So there will be a vetting process. Maybe Adam Mockler, yeah, he gets vetted. Midas Touch, they get vetted. Maybe us psychics don't. Maybe us psychics are like, no, you guys are outside of whatever we think the norm is. So there will be a narrowing of this kind of communication. And what I would just say is we're not going to go away. But this is a heads up to you guys, because I have prepared for this. And the guides yelled at me for years before I started my second channel. So, what I see us doing is going to a different platform. Like there's Rumble just came to my mind. I don't know what Rumble is, but we're going to find you. You're going to find us. We're going to support each other, but we're going to have to get a handle on this in some way. Things will never be the same, but also for certain groups like Black Americans, Hispanic, Asian, LGBTQ trans, things are not great, right? Like, look at all the Black men in prison. Look at all the Black women that have the worst baby health records, right? Neonatal deaths. So it's not going to be the same, but we have an opportunity to make it better. And this is where I think the struggle is going to be. This is where the real battles are going to be. The civil rights didn't happen without a battle. Last time we talked about the Black Panthers. I see groups coming out that are similar to the Black Panthers. I see new groups coming out that are different than the NAACP or other groups. They're just different. They're less hidebound, if that makes sense. And I'm not trying to put anybody down, but sometimes a group that's been that's been active for decades, it's not very flexible. It's not, so these new groups are going to be younger. They're going to know how to use social media. They're just going to be untouchable. By the time you find them, they're over here, then they're over there. So these are good. I mean, these are good things. If we stick with it and we make sure that we hold people accountable, it can be good. Rumble is MAGA, but it basically these things are off. They're not in the mainstream. So who's not in the mainstream? The pedos and the MAGAs. Okay. But as a psychic, I might not be allowed to be in the mainstream. I might have to go onto some sort of other platform. Okay. That's my point. And we will, we will. There's another one that it's not Rumble. There's another one that people are talking about right now that I can't think of the name of it. Gamers use it. I can't think of the name of it, but it's there and people are using to live stream. So it's sort of like TikTok. So you can't stop it. I guess that's all. Twitch. That's it. That's the word I'm looking for. Twitch. Twitch is the one that seems to be catching fire right now. So you're going to see how everybody's talking about Twitch. Yep. So you're going to see more people on Twitch, live streaming on Twitch, Discord, all of these things. This is what I'm saying. Like they can take my channel down. People will pop up on new platforms. Rumble, a lot of those places go right wing because they're off into the dark. They're not mainstream. So who hangs out over there is typically those types of people. And unfortunately, if you're not mainstream, strange bedfellows. It might be kind of weird, but yeah, I love that Canada is coming up with its own social media. I love that. That's cool. So, we have to just be flexible. If you want to get through this, instead of saying it's, we just have to be flexible. We're going to get through it. We've all, I promise you, all of us have been through some shit. All of us have, right? And we got through it. And we're going to get through this. We really are. And I think we're going to get through it and be on the other side. We're going to be in a happier place. Yeah, so those of you that get my newsletter, which is free, and I got to tell you, I never thought I would make a newsletter. I didn't want to make a newsletter. I don't like newsletters, but they wanted me to write a newsletter. And I did. So actually, I love it. I love my newsletter because the Spirit Guides channel once a week. It's like a big long run-on sentence. And I voice text it, and then I try to figure out what they're saying. But I know because I channeled it and I know what areas had like big energy. And then I have a wonderful person who helps me write it, like organize it into like things that make sense. So anyway, you didn't miss the whole live. You're only halfway missed it. So yeah, it came out today, and also I talk about me and my new house. So, have you guys heard me say I'm in the era of yes? I'm in the era of just say yes, like, stop bitching and complaining and just do it. Like in the newsletter, there was an illustration that said, stop circling the runway and just land the thing. So what happened was I made a deal with my spirit guides. So you guys know, some of you know, I left Texas. I love Texas. Nothing wrong with Texas. A lot wrong with the politics. But also, I'm not a big fan of the heat. Um, so I left that. I ended up in the Pacific Northwest, and I rented because I didn't know where I wanted to live. I wasn't even sure if I was going to stay here because this is so foreign from I'm from Kentucky, and I've lived in North Carolina, and I lived in Texas, and so that's kind of what I'm familiar with. So the spirit guides were like, "We need you to get busy this summer. We've got plans for you. If you get my newsletter, you know all the things that are going on. You know all the things." So we made a deal. I said, "Well, I need a house because I just need a house that I can just putter in and garden, and it's mine, right? Like you can't do things when you're renting." You guys, we made this deal, and I'm here to tell y'all, in 10 days, I found a house, put a contract on it. It's not done yet, but people are like, "How did you do this?" I said, "Spirit guides." Like, it was the only house that didn't have a contract on it. Everything that I liked went under contract from Sunday to Monday. They all went under contract, all of them. This house didn't. And my dad was involved. My dad in spirit was involved because the guy across the street, this is a great story, swear to God. So I pull up, and the guy across the street is like a hoarder. And I'm like, "Oh my God, what is going on over there?" And that morning, the guides had said, "Talk to the neighbors." Y'all, I'm really, really, truly an introvert. So I'm standing in the street, just kind of gobsmacked at this house. And this guy walks in the middle of the road. And I'm like, "Hey, do you live here?" And he's like, "Yeah, I live right next to this house right here." I'm like, "The house that's for sale?" He's like, "Yeah, I live right next door." I'm like, "Oh, like, what's going on over there?" He's like, "Oh, that's Barney." I'm like, "Oh yeah, Barney?" He's like, "Yeah, Barney. Barney's a good guy, but his backyard got out of control, and then it jumped into the front yard." And now the city has given him 2 weeks to clean it up. So then Barney comes over. So I'm talking to Barney and John, and Barney's like, "Yeah, I'm guilty. Yeah, I'm cleaning it up. City's on my ass." And I'm like, I don't want to live next. This was my dad. If we didn't live with my dad, he'd have been a hoarder. So I'm like, this is my dad right here. But I'm hanging out, and they're like, yeah, they're telling me how they help each other. They mow each other's grass. And when John lost his job, Barney lent him his car. I'm like, this is like, what is happening right now? It could be a TV show. So I go back to the open house, and there's a lot of people in this house, and they're all kind of looking across the street at Barney, who's out there trying to clean his front yard up, and no contracts on the house. So on Monday, it was void of course moon. So, I try to listen to my astrologer. So, like, don't put no contract down on a void of course moon because it probably won't work. So I'm like, okay, if it's mine, it's mine. If it's not mine, it's not mine. Try not to get overly emotional about the politics, about everything. Just say, hey, if this is for me, it's for me. So I let that day go, no contracts. The next day, I went over there with my realtor for the second time, and I put a contract on it. So yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, tonight's a full moon, and it's not only a full moon that's really important. Again, I'm not an astrologer, you guys, but this is a Scorpio full moon, and I was sharing with my membership. Don't forget, I have an online membership, SusanLynnMedium.com, that this is a flower moon, but it's Scorpio. So this is it's a big deal. This is a big deal full moon. And I do expect it to have some impacts on the politics. I do expect it to have impacts on political leaders and also on us. So, yeah, so that's what's going on. And the funny thing about that too is I channeled this newsletter. I channel it 4 days in advance. So we have time to take 7,000 words, because they be talking, and figure out what the message is. So it gives us a few days, and they predicted everything that happened. All this just happened now, but I wrote about it 4 days ago. So yeah, it's interesting. Ooh, one tonight and one on the 31st. Look, he can't live forever, y'all. I'm telling you, he can't. He won't. But it's going to be a thing. It's going to be a thing with JD, because yeah, it's going to be a thing. He doesn't have Trump's whatever whatever that weird charisma cult leader thing. JD does not have it. I'm not in Seaside. No, I don't even know where that is. But the newsletter says that I have a person help me. She helps me with the technology of the newsletter. These are all the reasons why I didn't want to do a newsletter. So when I found somebody to help me with the technology of it, and she helps me, like, I channel it, then I write it to the best of my ability, and then she kind of makes it a little bit better, sends it back to me. But anyway, so wherever the newsletter says it's published, I think it's in Seattle. That's not where I live, but that's where the newsletter lives. So yeah, pretty crazy times right now. Yeah, Barry. So I don't know if you guys remember that, right? But Petty Boots, which is on Sunday nights, with Jen Lynn and Becca and Johnny Torres Apprentice, and then sometimes I'm on there, and other people are on there. They are calling the blood clot that could free the world. They've named it Barry. So now we all talk about Barry. You know what I mean? And Barry is Barack Obama's nickname too. So I just love that. So I think we need t-shirts, we need hats. We might need a statue. We might need to crowdfund a statue to bury the blood clot. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you liked the jacket. The guides were like, wear the red jacket. I'm like, okay. Again, yeah, thank you, Donna. I remember, Donna, when years ago, I think it's been years, Donna, when you came to my live when I was doing readings, right? When I was doing readings on YouTube, and you were like, am I ever going to get a house? Isn't this right? Tell me if I'm wrong. And I kept saying, you're going to get a house. And like, if I was reading with Kevin or whoever I was reading with, we were like, yeah, you're going to get a house. And you have your house too. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that you have your house too. Cheering Barry. Yes, we are. And I'm glad that you got your house, because I mean, whether you're renting or not, everybody needs to have a place where they can chill out and feel safe, and whatever. Yeah, yeah. Yes, where did that go? Where did it go? Rosie Blue says, is F-45 really working with Putin to break the American economy? 100%. 100%. But you guys, it's not just him. China, all these countries, even, the Arabic states, India, they all could benefit from us taking a fall, right? Think about it. Let's take Canada, for instance, right? Carney is over there, like, making plans with any country he can to help his people, divesting himself from the United States. So that in itself, Carney calling all these countries, is giving them money, giving them orders. If we get knocked off of the king of the hill, then everybody else can get a chance, can get a chance to get some of that money. So absolutely, they're working to ruin our economy. 100%. If you watch from the beginning, you'll see that I saw, apparently there were bomb threats to a zoo, someone said, and I see more of that. I see more disruptions of our America apple pie. You know what I mean? Like, these people don't want us to live a normal life. They want to disrupt that as much as possible, in any way possible. And it's easy to just phone in something like that, right? And everybody has to take it seriously. Right, that is true. Putin has been working to boost BRICS, which is the BRICS countries. They want to be more powerful because they see NATO. They're terrified of NATO. They want to have their own group of bad boy countries so that they can stand up to the other countries. A lot of it is fear, right? Like they don't want to, you know, NATO isn't going to attack anybody. But when you think like a thug, you think everybody's going to attack you and you think you have to hit them first. So if that's how you think about things, then you're always on the defensive because you feel like somebody's going to come at you, right? So that's these BRICS countries. They're like, we need to be, it's also the reason behind the nukes, why Iran wants nukes, right? Because, hey, we need to be ready. Meanwhile, Ukraine gave up their nukes as part of the deal when they got free of Russia. So you can see the difference in the mentality. Ukraine's like, hey, we want to be above board. We'll give these up. America's going to protect us, right? Guess what? They got lied to. It's crazy. Crazy world we're living in. Is Teal in Argentina? You mean like visiting or living or hiding? I'm not sure what you mean there. I mean, the guides are saying he has ties, strong ties to Argentina, but I don't think he wants to live there. I mean, he would if he had to, but he doesn't want to. He does not want to live there. But he does have strong ties there. That's what they're telling me. Oh, glad you guys love the newsletter. Thank you so much. I'm telling you, I nobody's more flabbergasted about that newsletter than I am because I don't like newsletters, but I read my own newsletter and I'm like, damn, this is helpful. So it's interesting. The crystals that I have, why did I choose these crystals? I don't know. I'm an energy person. Okay. So I choose crystals based on their energy. Now, this is amethyst. That's nature's tranquilizer. I almost always wear an amethyst ring. Okay, so it's calming. This is a crystal, clear crystal. So that's just a crystal that amplifies things. I don't know. I get crystals that I feel good about. And anybody can practice this and just pick up something and say, does this want to be next to this? And if you don't get anything, put it down next to it and walk away. Because if you do this enough, you'll be like, "Oh, no, it doesn't want to be there." You'll tune in. You'll tune into it, right? But thank you for the question. Is it to me? I'm not really doing personal readings, Cat Mom. Is it for me to move back to the land of my birth, Canada? I could just say you'll be happy there. You'll be happier than you think you will, actually. You might want to visit. You might want to I don't know. You might want to visit. But I feel like if you went there, you would actually be very happy. Um yeah, thank you. Yeah. Another so all in 1 month. Like this is like the spirit guides are like, "Yeah, they got plans for me. I don't even want to say them yet because I haven't signed the dotted line yet." Now I did I mean I think I did because we got the house, but we'll see. It happened very quickly. That's all I will say. Where do you get the newsletter? Go to SusanLynnMedium.com. SusanLynnMedium.com, the website. Scroll to the bottom where it says Get Connected. Just put your email in there. Don't worry about me spamming you because I don't want to. And so if you can unsubscribe, you can say, I want to get the newsletter, but I don't want to hear about classes, or I want to get classes, but I don't want to hear about the newsletter, or I don't want any of it. Also, if you're not opening the newsletter ever, we're going to send you an email and say, hey, do you want to be removed because maybe you're busy, right? We don't want to keep you on if you don't want to be on. So believe me when I say I'm super sensitive to spamming people. But yeah, you can find it SusanLynnMedium.com. and go to the bottom, get connected. Gas is going to go higher. There's a guy called Gas Buddy who predicted, he monitors gas prices throughout the whole country, and he's really good. He's a good guy. But I think it's funny because psychically he'll say gas is going to go down, and I'm like, no, it's not. And then he'll say it's going to go up, but I think it's funny because he's doing the best he can with the data, but psychically I'm like, yeah, this is not going to happen. I do think it's going to go higher, you all. Also, I saw this a while back, months and months ago. I saw lines to get gas, like in the 1970s. No, the 80s. I don't know what happened in the 70s. Maybe there was also an embargo in the 70s. But anyway, no, this was in the 70s. Yeah, this was in the 70s. Okay, anyway. We could have areas that are just not getting gas. So, and that could be like, oh, we don't have gas, and this whole it's supply chain. Okay, so if your town or city is on a supply route that is impacted by that area could be not have enough gas. This area over here could have enough gas. Okay, so it's going to be very dependent on the supply chain and where that supply chain is connected to the coast to get that gas, that oil. It's just beginning. The guides are saying it's just beginning. So I've been trying, I haven't been the best at it, but I've been trying to keep my gas tanked up, because you could see a 20 cent per gallon or even liter change overnight. So number one. Number two, you don't want to get low on gas and then have that crunch happen where you can't get gas. Okay. The gas prices are going to go higher. They had told me that they were going to go down in May, but I don't know that they are now because the energy didn't change. So what would have happened is, right, if 45 had left or been carried out or taxidermied in the corner, I don't care. I mean, I don't even care if the aliens beam him up at this point. I don't care what happens. But had he not been in charge, the gas prices would have gone down. They would have gone down. So then we had that opportunity when I said JD could be sworn in. There was that fake attempt, but there was an opening for a real attempt. That was an exit point. It didn't happen. So now prices are not reacting to that energy. It's free will, you guys. It's going to go up. I think it could go down in May and later in May or in June, but it's hard to tell right now. Things are really, unfortunately, things are out of the control of the robber barons. Things are out of control of the people who are the puppet masters. They don't really have control. So who has control? Nobody. It's chaos. So that's why the Bilderbergs were meeting early too, because somebody's trying to get control of this situation. It's like a runaway train or something. I know. I was thinking exactly the same thing, having a hard time forgiving the USA, forgiving certain people in the USA for electing this idiot and affecting the whole planet. Yeah, it's all the stages of grief, the denial, the anger, all of the stages. We have to go through all the stages. Yeah, I mean, this is going to change us, right? We're going to take public transportation. We're not going to drive as much. We're going to put more pressure on our employers to let us work from home. We're not going to be taking those big, driving vacations. We might not be taking vacations because the plane fuel is going to be very expensive. So yeah, it's going to change. It's going to change us in so many ways. Right. So back when there was rationing of gas, you had to fill up on even days and odd days depending on your gas on your license plate. And also, and I remember this, I remember people siphoning gas out of your car. So they would just stick a tube in there and, like, suck on the air and get the gas coming out and then put it into a can. So you would go out to your car and there would be no gas in it because somebody stole your gas. I literally remember this happening to my family. So this is kind of a similar energy, really. Kind of similar energy. The earthquakes in Nevada related to the nuke test. I don't think so. I do think there are nuke tests happening there, and I said this last time too, that there's weird tests like just all kinds of weird, not even bombs, just I don't know what the word they're using, unique military weapons being tested there. But I'll tell you, in Nevada, I think it has to do with the Boring Company, which is Musk company. The guides get all kind of exercised about that company. I still don't really understand why, but they think they keep telling me this company is going to cause major problems because this company, they're tunneling. They're tunneling through Kentucky, which is full of sinkholes and caves, Mammoth Cave. Do you guys remember the sinkhole in Kentucky that took out the entire Corvette Museum? The Corvette Museum just went into a sinkhole. You don't want to be tunneling through places like that. So I feel like I don't know if Nevada, I don't know if he's operating in Nevada, but I feel like fracking causes a lot of earthquakes, that fracking when they try to get the oil out. But also I just feel like there's tunneling going on there. I don't know. Fracking is different, but fracking does cause earthquakes in Texas that didn't typically get earthquakes. They're getting earthquakes in Midland, which is oil country, which is, where these fracking procedures happen. But I think Bowling Green is where the Corvette Museum is, right? Boring is active in Las Vegas. So there you go. Well, there you have it. I feel like it's destabilizing. Okay, so the guides would describe it like this. So I'm not a geologist. I'm a psychic. So the ground would absorb an earthquake, right? Like earthquakes happen sometimes way down deep, and for whatever reason they're not a big deal. But when we've changed the structure of the soil under the ground, there's nothing to absorb those shocks. So now the shocks can, if it's blank, if it's hollow, that shock can shoot up to the surface. This is what they're telling me. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a geologist, but what can you say? That's what they're telling me. It's something like that. Itchy Boots. Who's talking about Itchy Boots? I'm a big fan of Itchy Boots. Big fan. She's from Holland, and she rides the country on the world. She rides the world on her motorcycle, and she's amazing. I love her videos. If you want to experience somebody who's really good, really just good-hearted and clean and just amazing person, she's driven through Russia, through Iraq, through South Africa, through the entire South America. She drove through the United States. It's a lot of fun. Itchy Boots. Okay, anyway, let's move on. Denmark, oh, hello. Awesome. New Madrid can take out. I have read on many years ago, I read on the East Madrid. So there's actually a fault line that does go through Kentucky, but I think there's a fault line to the east of that fault line. And that fault line worries me, that it's like in Virginia or in West Virginia, and it goes up It's a secondary fault line. The main one is Madrid, and then I think there's East Madrid. Anyway, yes, these things are possible. The astrology does talk about earth changes. It does talk about earthquakes. The problem is, like, on that part of our country, those houses are not earthquake retrofitted. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get them. So that could cause a lot of damage to that part of the country. Probably the same thing with Vegas and Texas, whereas California has done a good job of retrofitting and having permits and codes that address that. Oh, wow, there was an earthquake in Silver Springs. Wow. Wow. So he's not drilling, he's tunneling. He's tunneling long distances. So when I go into that energy, it feels like, okay. Well, okay. So the guides just showed me, for one thing, if you want to get goods from point A to point B, and you don't want to have to deal with traffic, and you don't want to have to deal with a mountain, and you don't want to have to deal with, you know, bad roads, you don't want to deal with storms. Think about it. If we had tunnels under the country, like this, the goods could just fly around, right? Like, and not ever have to deal with a snowstorm or a windstorm, or even a driver who's tired or something. So there's this, from a capitalistic standpoint, it makes sense. However, as I said, the country is not equipped for tunnels. I mean, the whole country is not equipped for tunnels, but also there's a sense of transporting things that don't want to be seen, transporting people, transporting illicit things. It would be much easier to transport things through a tunnel system. And if he owns the tunnel system, which I don't understand how he can own it, because he shouldn't be able to own it. But we have toll booths, we have toll lanes, roads that probably are owned by a company. So if he owns this, then he becomes the arbiter of that transport. He's the kingpin. He owns it all. The good, the bad, the ugly, the illegal, the illicit, but also the the regular goods. So yeah, it's yeah, Mary works in supply logistics. We're seeing issues now. It's going to get pretty bad. It's going to get pretty bad. So I would say all the things we've been saying, like have some water. The water's because not because the water is because there's no water. Like there's no water. It's not like it's water that needs to be boiled or water that needs to be cleaned. There's no water. So that's probably a situation where the grid has been disrupted, right? But also have some not a lot of stuff, right? But just have some stuff that would give you a couple of days of food. But really what I see is, you remember during C-19 when you would go to the store and there wouldn't be toilet paper, but there would be, cookies. Okay, right? Like there would be whole aisles missing, no food. This is what I'm talking about. So there's going to be product categories, the guides are saying, that will be like dairy. Okay, so there's no dairy, but guess what? There's toilet paper, right? So there's going to be things that are going to be spotty and hit and miss. I have said this before. The guides are reminding me that things to do with kids. I think the astrology also talks about this, but baby powder, baby formula, diapers, baby food of all kind. I don't know why. I just see shortages of that. And again, not across the world, but in spots. But where it's short, you're not going to be able to just go, okay, there's none at the grocery store. Let me get online. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be like, maybe I need to drive 2 hours to go get it. That's why I want you to have a few extra. I don't want you to spend all your money on it. I want you to just have a couple of extra. Like, always have, when you buy two, so you always have two reserve, right? Like, every time you have to buy it, okay, I've got two, not 20, but just two, maybe. Not baby powder. I meant formula powder, like formula food that's powdered, but also baby, however formula comes, and also baby food, that kind of stuff. Listen, I know this is bad. I know it's scary, but I'm telling you guys, think about it like this. You are sick. The United States is sick. We're sick. We're very, very sick. We don't know what's wrong with us. We can't get a diagnosis. We don't know how to fix it. We don't know what to do to fix it. We just know we're sick. That's where we are right now. We're going to get the diagnosis. Basically, outlaw Republicans and billionaires. They're going to get that diagnosis. And then we're going to start applying it. And then we're going to start feeling better. And then we're going to apply more. And we're going to feel better. And we're going to be like, oh, this is the problem. We know now, right? So it's really bad, and it's not great. But I'm telling you, the guides keep telling me, we're going to look back on it and we're going to say, in some ways, that was really good time, because I found out what I was made of, or I learned, I feel so good about the help that I gave my elderly neighbor, or I feel so grateful that my neighbor helped me. It's really, it's bad, but I don't know why. But I can just tell you that there's a lot of silver linings in here, and it has to do with community. It has to do with us being human and helping each other and treating each other with love. That's the answer. Now, don't be asking me to treat no MAGA with love, because I'm gonna flunk. I'm gonna flunk that. I'm gonna be in detention, probably with y'all. We're not gonna be drinking margaritas because we're gonna be in detention. But anyway, I don't care. I'm ready to take the D on that one. I can't. Maybe I'll change. Who knows? Yeah, we're learning from the experience. Exactly. Exactly. And you're right, Sharon. As a collective will prevail and make the world a better place. That is right. It's just that Sharon, you're so sensitive, and this feels senseless. Like, why are we having to do this? Why are we having to go through this? Well, because we would never treat people like this. So we don't understand why is this happening? But the people who do treat people like this, they're the ones that have to understand. This lesson is for them. It's not for us. Yeah, so here's Celestial Vapor is saying that's kind of how it was later after COVID. I could see a lot of benefits I experienced during that time. Right, in the middle of how horrendous it was, we also collectively learned how to make sourdough bread. We learned how to knit. We learned how to like staying home. We learned how to garden. We came away with some gifts from it. And I think that's the important thing here. Let's not let this be for nothing. Let's come through with some gifts, with some, things that make it better, make us better. We do suffer through it too. We are suffering with them, unfortunately. That's why we're so mad at them, honestly. Oh, here's some deep stuff. Nikki the Desert Poodle. Hi, Nikki the Desert Poodle. Freedom is what you do with what's been done to you. Jean-Paul Sartre. Freedom is what you do with what's been done to you. That is so true. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what we do. We'll see what we do with it. I know we all want it over. We just have to so if you're feeling like super overwhelmed, which I totally get, that's your immune system, that's your limbic system That's your nervous system saying, enough, I can't do it anymore. So let's look for the good, right? Let's find, where did something nice happen? Maybe go do something nice. Like today, I was at the bank because of this whole house thing. This guy was standing behind me, and he was an older gentleman on a cane, and he reminded me of my dad. He held the door for me. I'm like, oh, that's sweet of you. And so I was in front of him, and there was a line. Like we stood in line almost 10 minutes, and this guy's standing with this cane, and I'm thinking, I don't think he's going to make it. So when my turn came, it just so happened that that particular teller had a seat, had a chair for some reason. So I said, hey, go, take my place. There's a chair for you to sit down. And somebody behind me said that was nice. And I can just tell you, I did it because of my dad, right? Like I remember being with my dad and him barely able to stand and having to stand and nowhere to sit. This is how we change everything, because MAGAs aren't those people. MAGAs don't think of other people. They're only thinking of themselves always. So how we change this energy is we do something nice, or somebody does something nice for us. That's how we change this, right? And this, it really is on those kind of person to person level. That's how it gets changed. And we will do that. Right, Trump wants to be frozen. Trump wants to live forever. And so I had seen this vision of him in a cryo tank. But I never saw him really in the cryo tank, right? Like that's the lie they told him to get him to cross over, to get him to stop fighting it. Cuz look, maybe you don't know, or maybe people don't know, but if you've ever experienced somebody who is at the end of their life, and they're by all reasons should be crossing over, but they're holding on. Maybe they're in hospice, but they're holding on, they're holding on, they're holding on, and everybody's like, man, they just won't let go. Maybe they're in a vegetative state, but they won't let go. Well, there are these things called death doulas now, or even just us. We go over there and we say, hey, grandpa, grandma, it's okay. It's okay to go. It's okay to let go. And sometimes giving them that permission, they let go. This guy is not going to let go. He's not going to let go. He's not. So this is one of the reasons why he keeps missing his date with death. So they tried to convince him. They tried to say, man, we're gonna freeze you, and then we're gonna bring you back to life. You know what I mean? All these billionaires, that's what they're doing. They're all trying to figure out how a way to cheat death. That's what Peter Thiel is doing by getting these infusions from young people. It's all about the fountain of youth. So when I saw that, they were just trying to get him to change his mental thinking from I'm holding on forever to yeah, okay, this is cool. I can be okay with it. Because once you change that thinking, the process can start to happen. But we have these survival instincts that kick in. Right. See, this is, Shelby Lisa says your mom didn't want to go. You had to tell her it was okay to be free from the pain. She passed as soon as I walked away into the other room. This is what I'm saying, right? Once your mom, she felt supported, right? She felt supported in that and loved and released, okay? But Trump is not human, so he doesn't have that. Oh, you're a death doula. It is sacred work. Thank you so much for doing that. It's beautiful work. It's beautiful work. And it's also work that's available now. Think about it. This death doulas weren't really a thing in the 50s or in the 70s or in the 90s, because we didn't understand death to be sacred, right? Now we're switching our attitudes towards understanding the life journey, and that when it's over, it's okay. You know what I mean? It's we're getting better about accepting that. And the guides are also talking about people are going to start doing assisted suicide, right? Like, okay, I don't want to have this uh horrible diagnosis, right? And I'm going to choose how I exit. So this is a consciousness change that's happened with humans that's allowed this kind of work to be done. And we're going to continue that. We're going to continue moving in that direction. Okay, guys, we're getting down to the last 10 minutes. Anything about Zorro Ranch? Well, they're definitely digging it up. I would also say that there's some limitations, like I think we're going to learn enough. When I don't know why, but I feel like I see a judge saying, "I've seen enough," or the evidence, there's enough evidence. We don't need any more evidence. This is kind of how I feel like we're going to get. We're not going to get all the evidence, but the evidence we get is going to be so overwhelming and so putrid, so evil that we're going to say that's enough. And we're going to agree that there's more, but we're also going to agree that we have enough. So I'm saying that because some of you all will want all of the evidence, and there will be a conversation about things being covered up. And I agree with that, but I also think that there's enough. There's enough that's going to come out. But they're not done with whatever that island. They're not done with that island. The island wasn't in Barbados, but for some reason I'm getting Barbados. Maybe there's something that happened in Barbados, but I'm getting something about Barbados. So there's other places that are going to be investigated. The Seychelles, how do you say that? There's other islands that will be investigated, maybe because of the money, maybe because there's connections to, dark money, hidden bank accounts and things. I don't know how you say that. Seychelles? Yeah, I know. I know. That's what they said to me, but that they didn't pronounce it. They just Seychelles, Sasha. Anyway, I don't know, but I said it right. Okay, good. So yeah, I don't know. Again, some of these places have, you know, they're offshore places where you can park or hide money. So why the guides are bringing that up is because Zorro Ranch is ground zero, they're calling it, for a lot of what happened. There's also, I think we already know this, but they're talking about medical treatments. We know we saw the dentist chair, but I think there's doctors and medical treatments that happened there. Eugenics, different things like that. But also the island where the Lolita Express would go, and then there's also the financial parts of it too that will be investigated. And here's what I see happening. I see those countries, like whether it's Barbados or whatever it is, I see them again giving willingly, saying here's the files. Now they're doing that because they handpicked the files and they're willing to throw these people under the bus. But you better believe there's a whole storage facility of files that perhaps, incriminate more powerful people. So I'm just saying again that there's going to be people who say this is a cover up. And I'm going to tell you it's true, but I'm also going to say that there's going to be enough energy around. We just want to move on. We want to investigate it. We want to put some people in prison. We want to honor some victims, but we want to move on. There's just a sense that we have to move on. We cannot keep this wound open any longer. It's too painful. What do I mean when I say Trump is not human? Well, I honestly wonder sometimes because who can live through the things, not all the fake attempts, but who can just live through all the, well, the guide said rich people. Rich people can live through that. But I also feel like there is a, as above, so below, right? So I have often thought that there is a battle between good and evil above us energetically, and then also below us. And you know what the guides are saying? Isn't this Greek mythology? Isn't, I don't know, but isn't this mythology with Thor and the gods arguing and then the people arguing? I kind of get the same energy. And I get that Trump is sort of a vehicle of the dark, right? So that's kind of what I mean by that. It is appropriate. And look, when I read, I don't know why, Petite Chef, because I'm channeling, but when I read your comment, appropriate, the money finally takes them all down. You know who I thought, you know who came to my mind? Roberts, Justice Roberts. Not Trump, not Patel, not Kennedy, not Hegseth, not JD, not Peter Thiel, Roberts. So I really think he's got some things coming. And I think Patel, Cash Patel, I've been saying this for months. He's, I think you're in danger, girl. That's what I would say. Something could happen. He could get demoted or shut up in some way. Um, I don't think so, Karen. So actually, if you go back, I predicted a long time ago that he would pardon Ghislaine. So the question is, anything going to stop the pardon of Maxwell? I mean, yeah, something could stop it, a bullet. I mean, that's what just came out of my mouth, right? So, yeah, things could stop it. But it's fascinating. That is fascinating because if you watch that one video, and it's like a movie to me. It's like I was watching an IMAX 3D movie. And I didn't even know there's a name for it. There's a name called Dead Man something, when you hide clues so that if you get taken out, all these things get published. Okay, there's a name for it. I didn't know that either. But she has a very robust system that will be published if she gets offed. Okay, it's a robust system. And I mean, when I say published, I mean like this: they will hack into the screens that are in Vegas. They will hack into the screens that are in Paris, that are on the New York Times, Square, and these screens will be videos of very famous, important people doing those things. Okay, so this is, they call it Dead Man something. There's a name. I didn't know there was a name for it, but anyway, so she's got that. And that's why she's still alive. Okay. But I think it's fascinating that she's still in prison. Now they put her in this is against the law, actually. So if you're in prison because of pedophilia, you can't go to one of these lighter security prisons. That's against the sentencing rules. But of course, they don't care about laws. So she's in this lighter sentencing thing where she can actually come and go and do things. But I think it's interesting because she's sort of playing chess with them. Like, she has a lot of power, but not enough that she can just walk free. Right. So something is going on there. And let me just ask this because I haven't I asked this? I mean, I can't believe I hadn't asked this. But anyway, it just occurred to me to ask, what would happen if Trump was gone? If Trump was, or or so out of power that he was under the jail, that he was literally neutered, that he had absolutely no control at all, what would happen to her? And they just said to me, she would be gone. I think gone like gone, like deleted. What? That's what? How does that even make any sense? So he's keeping her alive? What? Because she. Oh, well, that does make sense. Okay, that does make sense. Except for it's very complicated. Okay, so the thing that I just cut that transmission off. I'm like, I ain't got time for all this. Y'all gonna have to give me like the cliff notes or something because I ain't got time for this. So anyway, the bottom line is that once this makes all the sense in the world, because what they have always said is once he's gone, the blackmail's gone. The bookie is gone. The bookie that has all the bets that you've been making that you haven't been able to pay, right? Once the bookie's gone, the book is gone. Your debts disappeared. Once Trump is gone, the need for the blackmail is gone. The blackmail is gone. And then she doesn't have anything to protect her. Does that make sense? Because the blackmail is what's protecting her. So in this bizarre way, they are dependent on each other. And that also gives me the willies. But listen, I could be wrong. I'm just getting thoughts and impressions, whatever, for entertainment purposes only, allegedly. So that would be great if she was gone and he was gone. I mean, don't threaten me with a good time. For real. It is kind of a clean slate. This is where I got overconfident. This is where I got overconfident with the whole thing of the robber barons wouldn't stand for this annihilation of their business, and they would put everybody in the right place and take Trump out. I was overconfident in that. So this clean slate is the same energy. It's apparently it's too easy. It's too easy of a lesson. Like it will be a clean slate, but I think it's going to be more difficult than that, maybe. She is safer in jail. So another thing that I thought, when they moved her from the more maximum security to the light security, I thought, girl, you in trouble. They fixing to take you out, because it would be look what they did to Epstein. I mean, it'd be very easy for somebody to get in there and do something. So, but again, she's got this robust system. In that video, I saw this box. So it's obviously a satellite. It has a satellite connection, because where these boxes are, let's say it's in a sheep herder's hut in someplace, like I don't know if it's Argentina or if it's Iraq. I don't know. It's literally in the middle of nowhere. And this sheep herder dude, once a month, right? The thing lights up. He opens up the box. He has a connection to the satellite. He shows the person the things that he has that he doesn't know what they are. They're whatever they are, jump drive, whatever. I don't know. And then he closes the box, and then something gets dropped, like food, something that he needs gets dropped, right? So do you understand how hard it would be to find this person in the middle of nowhere? They hid these boxes in places that no one would ever think to find them. Okay. And there's, say, 50 of them, 40 or 50 of them. So it could also be underwater. It could just brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I can't think of that name. It's called a dead man switch. Thank you, Cat Mom. Thank you. It's called a dead man switch. I did a whole video about this like years ago. And I was like, this is the most bizarre thing. And then just recently I heard they have a name. It's called a dead man switch. I don't think it's well, I mean, it could be the Caicos, but these places are desolate. So Caicos is not desolate. So I would say something like Mongolia, Myanmar, but also Iraq, or places that are just very, very desolate. No, like it would take you days to get there via some sort of off-road vehicle, or perhaps a helicopter or something. And how do you find this sheep herder? Or the thing that was fascinating, and I will say this, but I try not to say it too often. Um, the one that actually blew my mind was they showed me, this is my energy. Maybe I'm crazy speaking mad things. I don't know. They showed me one of these boxes in the Vatican. Imagine hiding this in the Vatican. This is why it's brilliant. Like, you would hide it in some place so obvious that no one, the security in the Vatican, right? So just, like, if you find one, you're not going to find 40 of them. And the majority of them are in places that are completely like in a jungle or in a desert or on a mountain. And then there are some places that are in very, surprising places that nobody knows. Like, I don't know why I have this. This person just said, "Hey, if you do this, I'll give you 500 a month," or whatever, or a box of food, or I'll drop a sheep. I don't know. Who knows? Right. Yeah. Kevin's here. Aro, awesome. Which Kevin? I don't know. Kevin's Loving Vibrations or Kevin's the medium. Kevin Lewis Medium's here. Woo woo. Hey, good to see you. I'm getting excited about Canada. I'm going to Canada to speak at Kevin's event. I can't wait to be in Canada, y'all. The land of some kind of sanity. Just let me be there. Insane land. That's where I want to be. Yeah. Yeah. So drop a sheep. I mean, I don't know. These when you have all the money in the world, you could just like, put a sheep on a helicopter and winch it down. I don't know. We winch people down. Ooh, a heart lung machine. It could be a heart lung machine. It is some kind of thing that he has that is not found everywhere. Well, not only is it not found everywhere, but they want it to be top secret, right? So you don't want to just be like, "Oh, we're in Kalamazoo. Does this hospital have this?" They're not going to do that, right? So they either need to carry it with them on the plane, or they need to have it accessible someplace. And they do travel with a lot of this stuff, right? Look at the clock. Look at it. Bern O'Malley. Bern O'Malley. I'm Irish. I love that. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. She's like, "Well, you look at the clock, for the love of God. Stop talking." I know. Okay. Yeah, she's right. I need to like cut this off, because the thing about me is when I'm channeling, I can go for a long time. For my members, I do this 2-hour thing 3 times a month. So join up. If you want to hang out 3 times a month, join up. SusanLynnMedium.com. The paid membership's only $12. But when I first started doing readings, I didn't know any better. And I remember doing this reading, and this person goes, um, um, "Excuse me?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, what? I'm at work and you've been going for an hour and a half and I got to go back to work." And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I was like, once I start channeling, it's like it just goes. And it's not using my energy. So I don't feel tired until later. So thanks everybody. Really appreciate you guys. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I dialysis, I think it's more than a dialysis. It feels more life and death, but isn't a dialysis life and death? You know what? He could need dialysis, heart, lung. I mean, he might be having 5 machines on him trying to keep him alive, right? So anything is possible. But you guys take really good care. Your homework is to do something nice for yourself. Turn off the news, turn off me, turn off everything, and just Be nice to yourself, right? Whatever that is, take really good care of yourself. I'm going to be really mad at you if we get on the other side of this and you're sick or you're not here anymore because this stuff has affected you. Okay. I want all of us accounted for on the other side of this. I want us to come through this better. My goal is to come through this a better version of myself than I was before I went through it. So let's all do that. Let's all take care of ourselves. Let's come through this on the other side with something we didn't have before, right? Like some skill, some self love, some healing. You know, if you really want to give them the middle finger, that's how you do it, right? You come through this better. Let's do that, right? Let's do that. All right, everybody. Tomorrow I will do the time stamps. Okay, so if you want to come back and watch this video, I'll run it through the timestamp machine and then I will have them in the description. So you can come back to different parts of the video. All right. Take really, really good care of yourselves. Thank you so much. I'm honored to spend my time with you. I really appreciate you. And we'll see you next time, which will be soon. All right. Have a great weekend. Bye, everybody.